is, what's the most common question that you get?
Most of the questions have to deal with workplace environments or where they can carry and where they can't carry, because generally speaking, the majority of all concealed carry holders are never, ever going to put themselves into a situation where they have to pull their weapon. It's a negative deterrent value. You make sure that you know where you're at, and you make sure you don't walk down the dark alley at night where you could end up getting, mugged or such. So they generally want to know, hey, how do I make sure I conform my actions to the law? And, a lot of people will call up and say, can I end up taking my weapon onto property where it says, no, I can't have a weapon? And, there was a recent case, an employment law case, that came down and said, even though it may say, hey, there's an employee bar, you can't bring your weapons on property, the car is a safe haven. And the car is always going to be a safe haven under the concealed carry law, that you can, even people who are out of state, that have out-of-state licenses, and I believe right now Illinois only honors 4 states where you can have an out-of-state Illinois license. One of them being the great state of Mississippi. The other, and it's because of the level of training. And essentially, the attorneys general get together and they say, okay, Illinois has been very, very good about training and what their training requirements are, which is head and shoulders of other places like Utah or Idaho, or even some places like Maine where you don't have a concealed carry as a constitutional concealed carry, and you don't have to have a license.
Well, as a constitutionalist, so you think that, but I'm all for more training, right? If you're going to carry a weapon, you should be well trained. So here in Illinois, of course, I think they're trying to make it that it's almost impossible to carry a pistol. If I'm downtown, because my office is downtown, right, I can't carry it by the.
You don't carry it in the courthouse.
No, you can't carry it, but you can't carry it by a government building.
Yeah, you can't. But I mean, and even now as attorneys, we get a special ID, and the ID says that you're a concealed carry holder, and it says so right there by the coloring of the ID. But everybody who's a concealed carry holder knows that you can't carry into a government building. You can't go into the police department. You can't end up carrying into a child care center, a school, et cetera. Those are just prohibited areas.
Isn't it even just walking by, though? I mean, is that a problem?
No, if you're on a public way that's being mandated, that's essentially being monitored and taken care of by the public. A sidewalk is an exemption under the way that the statutes are written. So walking by it is perfectly fine. Going in it is another story altogether. But generally speaking, it's, can I drive my car up and can I put my car there? There's also the automobile exception rule. You can go around the curtilage of the car, which for your listeners is roughly about the arm's length from you to the car. And you can walk around to the back and put it into the trunk if you really so wish. But, I really strongly advise people to end up putting whatever weapon they have when they get out to a restricted area into a lockbox inside the car, because there's been all sorts of cases where people, the criminal element, have ended up learning how to manipulate. If you can hack a computer, you can hack a GM car. You can end up popping the locks, and I can end up unlocking it with a remote control. I guarantee you I can, and I can show you exactly how it's done. Uh-huh. And they get in there and they rummage around and they take your stuff. Well, it should be in a locked container. You're responsible for that. If you're going to be responsible enough to carry a weapon, you're responsible for where you leave it.
Now, I have a question for you. What happens if I have a firearm that's stolen? What do I have to do?
Well, you should report it.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I believe there's several provisions that they've ended up putting into the legislature for bills saying that, you have a certain period of time to end up reporting your lost or stolen firearm. But I don't think there's any requirements as of right now as to do that, the criminal penalties at least.
Okay. Well,
but as an attorney, right, you want to make sure that
you absolutely do. You want to make sure it's brought up as stolen, so that when that weapon is used somewhere, it doesn't come back to you, because they're first person they're going to look at is Steve or Jim and say, hey, where were you in the night of the 23rd?
And you're going to say, well, that weapon was stolen.
Yeah, why didn't you tell us?
When they always say,
my favorite is it was lost in a boating accident. Well, that was several years ago. It's at the bottom of Lake Geneva.
At least that's where I left it. That's last time I saw it.
That's where I thought it was. I promise.
Which has happened. I've had those other stories. But they generally want to conform themselves to the law, and they want to make sure that they don't do anything that is unreasonable or illegal. And, we were talking before the show today about statistically, you are less likely to commit a crime as a concealed carry holder than you are as a police officer. You're less likely to be in trouble with the law as a concealed carry holder as a police officer. And that's because people go through this training, and they go through and they jump through all these hoops to get their concealed carry license. They want to obey the law. They want to make sure that they're not breaking the law in any way. Mm-hmm. And, these people are by and large good people. And the people that I deal with the concealed carry and the shooting community as a whole are really good people to hang out with. They're honest. They're forthright. They keep their word. they're really nice people. I think part of the reason that people get scared with concealed carry is that most of the people who are frightened of concealed carry have never even carried or shot a firearm. And if you haven't, then you're coming from a place of not knowing. If you know and you begin to understand it, you understand, yes, there is a destructive capability here, but there also is an ability to protect your family, an ability to make sure that you can end up being the person who keeps the bad people at bay. People who want to do away with weapons or legalize or make it illegal can't legislate the black heart of men.
That's right. So, ladies, God bless you for
It's one of
that.
the